What's up, everybody? Welcome to Legion Live, another episode where we start with 3 awkward minutes of nothing and slowly start getting into something as people come in. So today we have Bradley from Helium10. Sorry, something just loud in my ears. I lost train of thought. And Helium10, we have kind of a long-term relationship with, whether they know it or not, because we use the crap out of their software. And it's kind of important to our business model. But one of the crazy things about software tools is we frequently don't know how to use them correctly, or we frequently are missing out on like some really killer features or aspects or something of that software. So Kate and I had this great idea. Hey, let's get Bradley in here and help answer some of these questions that I don't know the answers to. And if I have those questions, surely somebody else does too, so we can share them.
All right. So my name is Bradley Sutton. I was brought on in about July to be the operations coordinator here at Helium10. And now since then, I've actually transitioned to director of sales and training. And my background is, for a few years before this, I would be a consultant for Amazon sellers, some companies that I had done business with. And I basically launched over 400 products in the last few years, optimizing the listings, doing all their keyword research, managing their launches. I did a little wholesale on the side, did a little arbitrage here or there, did a couple merch by Amazon stuff, but just really real deep into the whole Amazon game. And so I had used Helium10 on my own as an Amazon seller or as a consultant. And then so I was very honored when Manny went out and offered me a position. So to let you know how much I love this job, I hate driving. And my old job was 5 minutes away from my house. That was perfect. But I come here, I drive over 2 hours a day to get to and from work. So I'll just show you how much I love this company. But
so how did you end up with Helium10? Like Manny didn't just pull random names out of the hat of the area and say, "Hey, come work for us."
Yeah. So I don't know if anybody's alive. If you actually heard, I heard the question, but I don't see your screen, so I don't think they might have heard you say. But if you guys didn't hear that, what he was saying, how I was found by Manny. So I'm the kind of person who hates when people are giving misinformation on the internet. Back in the old days, 20 years ago, message boards, and I was really into car parts. I would always fight with people on message boards and sports message boards and things like that. So I'm in a lot of Facebook groups, and I was in the, FBA high rollers and the Helium10 user group. And then I would see these people, 5-6 months ago saying, "Oh yeah, launches absolutely do not work. Keyword launches, whether you're using Zomblast or Viral Launch or this or that, they're completely broken against TOS." And, I would be launching 15 to 20 products per month, in those days. And so I would just go on there and rip those guys a new one and just give them all my graph to show, "Oh yeah, it doesn't work. So tell me about this that I just got to page 1 and tell me about this one." And then I would write these long things. And then Manny's like, "Who is this guy who's coming on our Facebook groups and kicking these guys' butts?" And so they invited me up here for a meeting. And I was like, "No, you know what? I'm not really interested in a job. I'm real happy at the position I'm working at." But he made me an offer I couldn't refuse, I guess you could say. And I'm glad I took him up on it.
So basically, you got started in this industry just by engaging in a community. I'm going to straight up ask you, why were you engaging with that community? Like, a lot of people engage with these malicious intents of like, I'm going to become a guru, I'm going to launch a course, all that crap. So the guys on the groups that are like really pushing free content, quote unquote, that's normally their agenda. So what was that? I mean, how did you get into that?
It wasn't like, and I know exactly what you're talking about. Now that I'm a moderator in these groups, I see that all the time where, it sounds like they're there for nothing, but eventually it gets to an offer like, "Oh yeah, go ahead and PM me if you want to find out more information." But for me, it's all about education. I was part of a really huge company that dealt with Amazon like in 2014 and 2015. But I didn't really have anything to do with the front end. I was just like the logistics guy. I provided the warehouse and I was the shipping manager, and I didn't know anything about Amazon. I split from that company. And then for like the next year and a half, I spent, like 20, 30 grand just on educating myself on Amazon, courses, seminars, traveling to conferences and everything, and to become as much of an expert as I could. And then part of my way to continue my education is I would sign up for every single free Facebook group possible and just like go through them every day, like trying to find out tidbits of information that people would give. And of course, FBA high rollers was 60,000 people, was a no-brainer to sign up for. And then Helium10 users, since I was a Helium10 user, I was like, well, obviously I'm going to be in here so I can get the tips and tricks. And so that's what I was in the groups for. I wasn't trying to sell anything, but eventually some of the companies that I was doing so many blasts and stuff with, they gave me affiliate codes like, hey, you're like giving out all this stuff for free. You might as well, get some money out of it. But that was at the very end that I finally had an affiliate code. And by that time, Manny hired me, so I couldn't even really use the affiliate code. But that's the story there.
Awesome. So speaking of live shows, I just found out that since I don't have the BeLive extension installed, or I can't do a screen share, but that's okay because here's the honest truth. I want to talk to you more about strategy and technique. And actually using the software anyway. So I wrote down.
You can come back, and then I could. I'll host the BeLive, and then I can do the screen share. So now it's good.
There you go.
You can come back.
So there's all the you can't see it. Awesome. Bunch of questions I wrote down that honestly all of them are about strategy. All right. So I was talking to I'll just say it. It was the Viral Launch guys here a few months ago, and of course you know what their software does. It's not just software, but they also have like the launching service. Yeah. And I was at a conference, I think it was a Rocky Mountain Reseller Conference in Denver. And I asked them a question straight up. I said, what's more important, the launch sequence or picking the right product to begin with? Because I'm going to make a bold statement when I say, and of course, we see a lot of private label sellers all the time that are trying to do this thing. So we get kind of a top end view. There are a lot of people that buy the absolute worst products in the world to sell to Amazon, thinking that they can make up for it with the launch.
Yeah.
Right? Now, you're in one of those hairy situations, Helium10 is, because your software is used for, product search, like to find a product, but it's also used for optimization and launches, the whole CPR method. Exactly. So I want your opinion on the importance of which one of those to focus on, because technically you can launch a super saturated product using the right method, or you could go all the way to the far extreme and pick a completely unique product that has no search demand. So even if it's the coolest product in the world, people can't find it. You can't really launch it. So in your opinion, is one more important than the other? And if so, where would you invest most of your time using tools like Helium10 to launch or research that product?
To me, it's more of like almost like a chicken or egg thing. You need both, but it depends. You can't pick a product. And the company that I did like most of those 400 launches from, I would say 3/4 of them failed, not because the launch was not good, but because their price was terrible, or some unique product. And I would tell them, I was like, I don't want to take your money. I'm telling you, this is not going to work. I could do a great launch and it's not going to stick, because the only, people say, oh yeah, launches don't work because you get to page one, they fall off right away, right? Well, guess what? That's not because you did a launch. That's because you're not converting organically. And usually that means your listing's not optimized, or you just have the wrong product. You picked the wrong keyword. So for me, it's equally important. The very first step is picking the right product. And it's not about reinventing the wheel. A cool product that I launched for a company was supplements, but like in these little jelly packets. So there's like these jelly packets that you open up and you suck out the supplements, like whether it's biotin or collagen or something completely unique, really cool. As opposed to having to mix powder up in a drink, right? You just rip something off and take it like you're a little kid. It's really cool. But nobody even knows that thing exists. So there's no search volume for, jelly packets of collagen or something. So right away, the only way that you're going to get seen is if you put it on the searches for things that are not really related to it, like collagen powder or something. Yeah. That you're starting behind, you're already behind, because now people who are searching for collagen powder, that's what they want to buy. So the odds that somebody sees your thing that is not what they're looking for and clicks it and then actually buys it, it's already very low. And guess what? When it's very low and you're not converting organically, you're not getting clicks, you're going to fall off that first page. So regardless of how amazing your launch is, if your product is not something that has high demand, if your price point has to be higher than everybody else, you're shooting yourself in the foot. At the same time, you could have been one of the first people with the fidget spinner when it was really hot. And then, but if you never got to page one, or you never did an optimized launch with your PPC or whatever to get on, to get it seen, it would have done you no good that you have the best product in the world at the best price, because nobody's even going to see your listing. So to me, they're completely synergistic. You can't have one without the other. But in order of how it goes, it's first you got to pick the right product and then do the launch.
Okay, so that leads me to something else. I'm going to make a statement that I have used before. Tell me if you agree with it. You can launch a product that essentially has no direct or no exact search volume. And what I mean by that is exactly kind of, I think, what you just said is that you don't have to have people searching for collagen gel in a, toddler's applesauce pouch package. They don't know what's out there. And the reason I say this is, so like I spend a lot of time in China, okay? Take people to Yiwu, teach them methods, and people freak out because they'll be walking through the market and they'll find this amazing, cool product. But then they go back on, all the software tools and say, well, nobody's searching for this. Well, my argument is maybe they don't know it exists. So what I tell them is to find similar products that maybe have some search volume and just run PPC, to get it exposed. Is that basically what you're saying? Is that if your exact product, if your exact product is a orange handled screw turning device and nobody's searching orange handled screw turning device, you can find other keywords, run PPC to it, and then bring people's awareness to it. Is that what you're saying?
There's two parts of that. And the first part is that it's not impossible to launch something that has no search demand. But what happens is you're already behind in the score because the odds of landing that and being successful are infinitely less than if it's something that has a high demand. But it's not impossible. I've seen it happen before. However, that's just on Amazon. So if somebody has some unique, innovative product that nobody is searching for, and this is what I told them to do for these jelly products, you've got to have a strong off Amazon launch. You can't rely just on Amazon. Amazon launches are about Amazon searches and volume. All right. But if you have some strong social media push where you make some cool YouTube videos that go viral or some major influencers talk about your product, it doesn't matter if there's no search volume on Amazon. You're going to get sales just from that. A perfect example, one time, this wasn't even on Amazon, but back in the day when we were doing cell phone cases, that was what the company I was working for did. We had this mistake product. It was a clear TPU cell phone case, and that was what it was supposed to be. But we got it, and it had all this like glitter in it, like these little glitter things. Where we're like,
yep.
No dude is going to buy this, which is who we were marketing the clear, see-through TPU cases for.
Yep.
Like, we got 1,000 of these. Let's just put it up on eBay and start selling it. And, we'd sell like 1 or 2 a day. Then all of a sudden, for like 4 days in a row, we had like 30, 40 sales a day. And we were just like, what is going on? How are we selling 30 and 40 of these ridiculous looking cell phone cases? And what happened was we started emailing our customers like, well, how do you find out about our product? And they said, oh yeah, my favorite fashion influencer did an episode last week on what's on my iPhone. And she had said that she had bought your cell phone case, just at regular price. And she actually gave the link. And just because of that, we were getting 40 orders a day. And now all of a sudden there's a demand. And actually it's funny because actually after that, other companies started making glitter cell phone cases and different things. So if there's no demand, that doesn't mean don't do it. But you've got to really make sure to leverage outside traffic to help get the sales velocity that you're going to need and to actually create that demand for that.
And I 100% agree. And I'll even go further than that. A lot of people are freaking out, which is justifiable. I mean, they should be, about saturation. Okay. Yeah. Product saturation is the worst. And there are a lot of people that I come in contact with on a regular basis that have a really cool product, but it can be copied, like the glitter cell phone case. Mm-hmm. And, their kind of thought is, why should I take the time to promote this, endorse it, build product awareness to it when somebody else can copy me? But here's my opinion. You're going to have to do pretty well for a while before someone can see that. All right. There was 2 or 3 guys that were crushing it with fidget spinners and hooded baby towels and all that crap before anybody even noticed it. And because of the way Amazon has changed their search algorithm and they have changed the ability to get reviews and all that stuff, I feel like once you put your foothold down, it's harder for someone else to knock you off.
Absolutely.
So, you'll have more time to get reviews because they're really eliminating most of the black hat review generation methods. Even launches like, with the giveaways and coupon codes don't work as much. So I say all this to say, people need to be encouraged that you can still do this, that you can still, even though you're launching something that could be replicated, it's hard for it to become so saturated, it knocks you off that number 1 or page 1 spot because, Amazon really is focusing on doing things old school. The tricks, the hacks, the techniques, they're still there, but they're less mainstream and they're harder to pull off. So what we've noticed is just old school good products and just let it simmer and run PPC. I mean, it works. And it's really interesting that you're talking about off Amazon traffic. And, I know that you're sitting in the Helium10 office, which of course is a software service that wants you to use their software. How do I use searches or information using tools like Cerebro and Magnet and apply the data that I pull from that to off Amazon promotion? Okay. Something like Facebook. Is there a good way to do that? Like I can correlate, hey, if there's search volume on Amazon for this keyword, then maybe that's a keyword I can focus with Google or Bing or, Facebook somehow. You kind of explain how you would do that. I've got a product. Nobody knows it exists. I'll never find it on Amazon. I've got to put it on Facebook. How do I use Helium10 to help me pull it off?
I wouldn't use Cerebro or Magnet. I'll tell you what I'd use. But, first of all, the next time I'm on here, I'm going to show you guys, I think I showed this to Kate, but this method using Cerebro that, so many tools out there, a lot of them do the same thing. But we have something that's going on in Cerebro that I'm sure somebody's going to copy from us soon, but that is completely unique in the game. And that is a game-changing way to search for the main keyword on Amazon. So a little preview of coming attractions there for next time. But here's what I would do. I would use what's called Review Downloader. It's a little known tool that we have. Most people don't even know we have it. It's in our Chrome extension. Everybody thinks Helium10 Chrome extension. They think of X-Ray, right? But you go to a listing, and I really wish that we could do this. Actually, anybody who's watching online, or if you're watching this on the replay, go to Amazon.com, and I'm going to show you, what to do. So you're on Amazon.com, and Tim, you go ahead and do this too. You have, even though you can't share your screen, you have the Helium10 Chrome extension installed, right?
It'd be really embarrassing if I said no.
Yeah, that would be bad. I might have to hang up on this.
All right. I'm up.
You'd be like, yeah, I have the viral launch and the Jungle Scout one, but Helium10, I don't know, All right, so everybody, once you're there, search for collagen peptides. That's my tactical flashlights. Manny always searches for tactical flashlights. I always search for collagen peptides.
You said on Cerebro, right?
No, on Amazon.com.
Oh, on Amazon. I don't know why I was already in the extension.
Yes, right.
Collagen. You picked like the weirdest spelling thing.
Yeah. So I search this a million times a day, so it's a no-brainer. Collagen space PEPTIDES.
Okay, there.
Okay. Now you guys should see. I can't even talk. Should see one around the top or the first or second line. That's like a black canister with yellow writing. It says premium hydrolyzed collagen peptides. Do you see that one? I hope everybody else is following along too. With
yellow, premium high. It is number 3.
Yes, click that one. All right. Now this guy's selling 6,000 units. Now I can't talk too bad about him because he's making a ridiculous amount of money. So obviously he's doing something right. But what I want to point out, and don't worry, that eventually this is going to get back to social media. I'll show you how. But guys, everybody who's looking at this listing right now, look at the first bullet point, the second line, and read how boring this is. Sourced from pasture-raised,
grass-fed, non-GMO, type 1 and 3. Yeah, that's bullcrap.
I'm already falling asleep. All right. So for me, the way I teach how to make listings is that you've got to make that emotional connection in your first bullet point, because right there, somebody's reading that, and sometimes they only read the first bullet point. There is nothing that is in that bullet point that says, oh, this is why I need to pick this product. It's not connecting to my wants or needs or anything. And this kind of ties back to Facebook, because on Facebook, more important than anywhere, if you're going to make a Facebook ad, you have to be appealing to somebody's wants and needs. So, Tim, when you teach your students about making a new product, I'm sure you tell them, hey, study your competitors' reviews before you make your product, right?
Yeah, unless, and this is where we're a little contrarian, is we frequently have products that are not even on Amazon. But yeah, the products that, I would even go so far as to say the products that like maybe one person is selling 300 or 400 a month with just an absolute crap listing, not ranking whatsoever.
Yes.
If we look at the reviews and we figure out, certain pieces of data on there, it will actually give us enough confidence that we won't even do a test order. We've got a unit that we just dropped like $12,000 to $15,000 without even testing it, and we used a lot of that reassurance in our minds based on reviews, because I don't know what point you're getting to, but we knew how to improve it slightly. We knew exactly what other uses people were using it for.
Exactly.
You may have been getting that. So I'll let you keep going. But yes, we do that all the time.
Yeah. So what you said is how like 90% usually do. They say, hey, look at this product, your competitor who's selling a lot. And if he has some bad reviews, weed out his bad reviews, see what people are complaining about, and see if you can fix that in your product. The second phase that not everybody teaches, but is also equally important. Hey, look at the 5-star reviews from your competitor, because whatever people love about that, you better make sure that your product can have that. Well, I go to what's I call the third phase. So right now on that, if you're still on that collagen peptides page, anybody who has the Helium10 Chrome extension, hit the blue check mark. And then on the bottom, you see something that says review downloader. So hit that, Tim, or anybody else. And then under the date, the first little date column, you see there's a date text area right there. Select like November 1st, 2017.
I'm still looking for the blue check mark. What are you talking about?
The blue, the Chrome extension. You're like we would normally.
Yeah. That's not. It's not really a check mark. It's more like a arrow thing. I don't know.
It's like a graph, but I call it blue check mark because it makes me feel like I'm a famous influencer. Yeah, I got a blue check mark because I'm famous.
Got it. All right, got it.
All right. So then you hit review downloader, and then you see there's a date, right?
Yep.
So hit November 1, 2017. All right. Now I could just weed out the 1-star reviews or the 5-star reviews, but keep every star highlighted and then hit extract. So what this is doing right now, and it's going to take a few seconds for anybody else who's doing this, is it's going to pull out all of the reviews that this listing has had since November 1st, 2017. Did it come up and now it says 641 reviews found?
Yep.
Okay. So now this is what I do. I want to see what is on my customers' minds, okay, for that first bullet points. Regardless of if it's something they like, don't like, or whatever. So watch, hit the button at the very top that says analysis. Got it?
Yep.
Now, what this does, which I don't know if any other tool does, it immediately pulls out all of the 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 word phrases that are most commonly appearing in all 600 reviews and ranked from most frequent to least frequent. And do you see what that first one says? It's kind of strange.
I don't even understand it.
So what does that first one say?
I'm already past it. I'm already deep in. You'll have to read it.
It says
review 70.
It says in my coffee.
Yeah.
Okay. So somebody who might not know collagen peptides, they'll be like, hey, I thought collagen peptides is a dietary supplement. There's no way that in my coffee is the most commonly used phrase. So then you click in my coffee, and then now every single review that says in my coffee appears. And so if anybody else is doing this along, you'd be able to see this. Every single review, which are 50 reviews that all said in my coffee, it comes up right here on this Chrome extension, and it's highlighted. So now you can read the context. So then you just start reading some of these. I had no issues with mixing it in my coffee. The next guy says, I start my day by using it in my coffee. The next one, I take them in my coffee every day in the morning. I put a scoop in my coffee every morning. What else is I add 1 scoop in my coffee every morning. So now
it dissolves completely in my coffee. Like I'm just constant.
Exactly. So every single one that in my coffee appears in, it shows it right here and highlighted. So now maybe you had no idea, like in my coffee is not something that would come up in your keyword research, because that's usually not a phrase that comes up. So you might have done the best keyword research using whatever tool you wanted, and you would have come up with collagen powder, hydrolyzed, collagen, grass-fed, all these weird things, right? And that's great. You know, you need those keywords. But now from here, this gets like almost gives you like a psychic connection to your potential buyers, because the only reason I pick this product to do is, let's say my product I know is going to be very similar. So the customers from this product are kind of my potential customers too. So what's on their mind? So now for my first bullet point, or my Facebook ad or my Instagram ad, it's going to say, do you want 18 grams of protein in your morning coffee in an easily dissolvable powder? Well, this is the product for you. So now compare that to their bullet point that they have. Now that appeals. Half the buyers are going to be like, holy crap, that's exactly what I was looking for when I first searched this. How do they know? Absolutely, I'm going to buy this. And the same thing goes for a Facebook ad or an Instagram ad. You're not going to make a Facebook ad or Instagram ad based on your Amazon keyword research about, hey, do you want hydrolyzed type 1 and type 3 grass? Nobody's going to click on that. But if you have a picture all of a sudden of somebody drinking some coffee and you say, hey, would you like to have protein with your morning coffee? And if you're targeting your people right on Facebook, guess what? You're going to get a lot of clicks. You're going to get a lot of conversions. And if you didn't know, I mean, you might have known this product, but most people, a lot of times when they search for products on Amazon, they're looking for the opportunity. It might be in a niche that they have no idea what it's for. They have no background on. So they need tools like this in order to see what the typical customer is thinking about.
So what you're telling me is the data that you pull from that, you're not using that like for actual ranking purposes, because this is more appropriate for the buyer's journey. This is more appropriate for like good copy and good conversion, which is great. I've seen that before, or I've used similar information from reviews before to find actual stuff that you can rank it for. But I've never really thought about using it for that buyer journey, because the truth is everybody right now in the industry is focusing on get them on your page, rank. But very few people are actually talking about converting by instilling consumer confidence, which people have to do it, because even products right now that are super saturated, that are raced to the bottom, people still buy more expensive items. That's why, Macy's is still in business and Walmart hasn't completely killed them, because people are willing to pay more for higher end items. And in an online world, perception is reality. So if we can convince them that it's a higher end item, even if it's the same crap in a different package, they'll still pay more. With our business and the products that we sell online, we're usually not the cheapest. We actually try to be one of the more expensive options on most of our listings. So this is really, really great, because, the truth is, if I go through all of our dozens of listings and I find, just with your own tool or competitors' products, running the same tool, find one or two little things that I can stick in the bullet points.
Yep.
It might take me 5 minutes a listing, but crap, that could be hundreds and hundreds of additional products over the next 12 months. Just that little change. So I'm a little bit antiquated on ranking stuff. And I say that because once I started bringing in partners and folks that were better than me, I've kind of taken my hands off a lot of it. I know that there are a lot of people out there, especially from more of the old school, that are going to freak out about giving up prime real estate in their bullet points for a place that they think they need to be keyword stuffing. Okay. So people are going to panic about that. And we spend a lot of time actually cleaning up our bullet points where they're not super stuffed full of keywords.
Yeah.
I know that you guys are in the ranking business and you're in the optimization business. You can agree. I want to hear what your opinion on this. My thought is, if you're optimizing well and you're researching the real relevant keywords that you need to be ranking for, there's plenty of space between the bullet points and the title and the description and the back end that you don't have to do that. So 100%. I would almost argue that to do it right, even 20 keywords, you can stick those in different places. You don't even have to touch your stinking bullet points, and the bullet points can all 100%. Be that buy journey. So you 100% agree with that?
100%.
That's rare, because most time people don't
never even come close to running out of room, or plenty of room, especially now that it's been proven that the subject matter also is good for indexing. There's another 250 characters there. And before, even when for a few months, remember when Amazon allowed you to put 5,000 keywords in the back end, or 5,000 keywords, 5,000 characters or whatever it was? Yeah. I never even came close to that, because most of those are not that, you're not going to get many sales from it. I mean, especially if you're in a really niche down market, there's not that many related keywords, to it. Now, yeah, if you're in collagen peptides, then, there might be 6,000 different keywords that you might want to rank for. Okay, well, maybe you really got to, work at the space. But 95% of the markets on Amazon, it does not require you to do some ridiculous keyword stuffing, which in my opinion works to the detriment of you, because who as a buyer wants to read bullet points that take up half the page? I mean, nobody reads that stuff. So sometimes I see that, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go to the next one because there's too much information here. Okay. You're actually doing yourself a disservice, because if you focus too much on the ranking, you got to focus on the ranking on your important keywords. The important keyword phrases, what's converting for your competitors, that is very critical. But once you start getting into these words that only get searched for 50 times a month anyways, don't be sacrificing the aesthetics of your listing just to be able to stuff keywords, because you're shooting yourself in the foot if you do that.
Now, are there some places that are more prime real estate than others? I mean, am I going to have more effect putting a high ranking keyword in a title than a bullet point? What's the order of importance as far as what has more visibility?
is first of all, phrase form makes a difference in the tests that I've run. And number one place is phrase form in the title. And then if it's a really, really high volume keyword, you'd want to put it phrase form in the title. And I duplicate it in phrase form, maybe one of my bullet points and the description, so that it's 3 times in phrase form. This is not for like 10 different phrases. No, this is like what you have determined is your number 1 and number 2 most important keyword, especially if you're doing a really big PPC push or you're using a giveaway service to rank there. I put it there and I duplicate it in the subject matter. I didn't come up with that, but somebody taught that to me. And it seems, I haven't done extensive testing, but it does seem to have a little bit of juice to it when you duplicate it in the subject matter. Some people,
that's your favorite term, ranking juice.
Ranking juice, yep.
I say ranking juice, and Kate goes, oh, because so many people, again, think that you can just pour a little juice on a bullcrap product and sell it. Which, gosh, I hate that.
No.
So, all right, that's really good information. A lot of that I've never heard before. I suspect that most of the people listening have not heard a lot of that before. So let me get back to my list here because I know we're going to run out of time soon. The initial question I asked was what was more important, a good launch or a good product? And it sounds like there's a lot of in between there. Especially, and that's what I've always noticed is like there might not be a product that's good to launch on Amazon because bringing traffic is no good on Amazon. But if you can bring off Amazon traffic to it, then you're great.
Exactly.
You can also compete in competitive places by looking for, I kind of coined the term tier 2 keywords, like the keywords that aren't the primary keywords, but there's enough of them out there that nobody's competing on. Yep. So if there was a garlic press that was super saturated, I can't compete on garlic press, but I might still launch a garlic press, but I call it a garlic squisher, garlic dicer, squisher for garlic. Yep. And if there's enough of those tier 2 keywords that give me a high enough search volume, then it's great. Nobody else is doing it. With the new features like the review downloader and what was it, the batch? What was the other new? I was out there in LA and I already forgot. What was it?
It's where you can compare ASINs in Cerebro. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And that is the number one, my favorite tool that to me is a game changer. I mean, the actual theory behind it is nothing new. It's actually what I used to do. I would run reverse ASIN. I wouldn't even use, this is like 3 years ago before Helium10 even had a reverse ASIN. I would use another tool to run like 5 or 6 of my competitors' reverse ASIN reports. And I would make these, put them all in Excel and run some pivot tables and do stuff. But basically what would take me 3 or 4 hours now takes 3 or 4 minutes with the new tool that Cerebro has.
Gotcha. So are you using that more for optimizing existing listings or finding new products to sell?
Optimizing my new listing or mature listing maintenance.
Mature listing maintenance. Okay.
Mature listing maintenance. Because like, let's say you have a listing that's been out for 8 months. All right. You see 4 or 5 other, you're selling 100 units a month, and you see 4 or 5 other sellers. They're not brand names. They're just private label like you. Their product looks identical to yours almost, and they're doing like 500 a month. So the question obviously is, wait a minute, how come I'm only selling 100 a month and I know my listing's optimized? Well, a lot of the time is that they are focusing on keywords that are relevant to that niche, but you didn't even realize it. And so they're getting tons of sales from it, but you're getting 0 because you're like on page 10. So by using this technique, and this is what I'll go over next time because it's really cool when you see it, but you never base your keyword research just on the top selling guy. Because like, let's say collagen peptides, let's say that this one brand was on an episode of Dr. Oz. Okay. So now everybody knows this as the Dr. Oz collagen peptides. And that's like a major keyword. That's like 3,000, 30,000 search volume, and they're page 1, position 1. So you think, oh, this is the number 1 guy. I need to make sure that I'm on page 1 for Dr. Oz collagen peptides. But Dr. Oz collagen peptides has nothing to do with you. You'll never convert for that because everybody's looking for that one. So that's what happens when you base all your keyword research just on the top guy. But what makes more sense is take the 4 or 5 top guys and imagine if in 2 minutes you could find out a word that not just one guy is ranked for, but all 4 of them are ranked for. And not only that, but all 4 of them are on page 1. Then you have what I call real world relevancy. It's not a random score or anything, but this is real world relevancy, meaning that this keyword is on page 1, converting organically for the top 4 selling guys who look almost exactly like your product, meaning that, hey, you're probably able to get sales from that keyword too. It's very relevant to your product. So that's like the biggest kind of game changer right now that Helium10 has. But as far as looking for a product, I just do the old way of, looking for products that are doing really well, but have issues with them. Almost all the tools are the same as far as this goes that I've seen, real similar, have the same filters. The one that Helium10 has that I like to use that I haven't seen in the others is the image count. So I try and find high selling stuff, bad reviews, this, and only has 2 images in the listing so that it's not an optimized listing. So that usually gives me some good nuggets. Like, wow, look at this guy. He has 1 image. It's a rookie seller. I can come in here and put a nice optimized 7-image listing, and maybe I'll get better traffic than him.
Okay. So I've got kind of one last important question I want to go over.
Sure.
And you're kind of in a cool position, kind of like we are. You get to see what so many people are doing. It kind of gives you a bird's eye view of information. And that's important because, there's people that have launched one listing, sold well, and they put out a course, how to make $1 million on private label.
Yeah.
And it's too specific. Like maybe they got lucky. But with us, we see so many people, we can make these generalized statements, right? So it gives us a little bit of an ability to speak in generalized terms. So I want to talk about a generalized term, or I want to get your opinion on a generalized statement, or condition, right? And that is product saturation.
Yes.
There are so many tools out there that teach people how to find potential products to sell. Okay. Yep. Whether it's Jungle Scout or Helium10 or Viral Launch or all these. And ideally, what people are, or not even ideally, kind of with poor expectations, people are coming to this thought that a piece of software can make them $1 million by telling them exactly which product to launch.
Yeah.
Right. So we're getting all this information, but we're not being, I say we, like as a group, are not being objective enough to take a step back and say, hey, maybe we need to look at all the data here before we spend our life savings on this product. So using Helium tools, specifically Helium10 tools, how do you determine if a product is overly saturated? Is there a specific parameter that you use? Is there a specific method you use? Because there's a lot of software out there that says, hey, this is a great product, you should launch this. But there's really no tools out there saying, whoa, look at this data. This may support the idea that this is about to become very saturated or already is.
Yep. So here's my process, and I can go over this with screen share in the next episode, but I go into Blackbox and I look at a certain category, and usually, and there's no right or wrong way, about this. This is just the filters that I use. I look for something that's maybe selling $10,000 a month or more, has less than 200 reviews, and less than 3.5 stars, between $20 and $30 as the price. I don't want it too cheap or else it's not enough profit. Don't want it too expensive because it takes too much money for investment. Less than 4 images. And depending on the category, this will come up. And then based on the results, I'll find something. So I'll find a product that meets all of these criteria. Now that just tells me that product itself is kind of an overachiever. Okay. That doesn't mean, oh yes, we need to jump on this. So from there, what I do is I go, let's say it says he's selling $15,000 a month as an estimate. Okay. My question is, what is the main keyword that is driving his sales? Because if I'm going to make a product similar, whether it's in that niche, I want to know what the main keyword is. So then I run Cerebro for reverse ASIN test on that ASIN. So I can see where is he on high volume keywords, high volume search keywords, where he's ranked on like the top half of page 1, meaning probably more than 50% of his sales come from there. Then I find the number 1 keyword there, from there. And then I actually search for it in Amazon. From there, I hit X-ray. See, everything so far is all with the Helium10 suite. And that's what I love. Before I had Helium10, I had like 8 Chrome extensions. I had 7 different and individually they were cheaper, but overall I was paying over $200 for all these. But everything I mentioned so far is all Helium10. So now I hit the X-ray and then I look at the page 1, because if that's a high converting keyword for that competitor, that's probably where I want to be on page 1 there. So then I look at there, and then I look at the number of sales. If the top 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 guys are all selling like something crazy, like over 1,000 units, I kind of just end it right there. I'm like, it would be very hard for me to catch up to these guys, get that sales velocity, and these guys are established. Let's say that maybe one guy is selling 2,000, but positions 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, they're selling like 300. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go further. There's something here. I probably can't get to position 1, but shoot, I can sell 5 units a day, probably right off the bat. So the next thing I look at is the review count. Again, if there's something 1,000 reviews or 2,000 reviews, number 1, like you said, Amazon favors older listings and they've got brand awareness. Probably they're more entrenched. It's really hard to bump somebody down with a lot of reviews who's been established down the thing. So if I see a whole bunch like that, I'm like, no. Not to mention visually, what I tell sellers is like, put yourself in the buyer's viewpoint. If you had two products that look similar on page one has 1,000 reviews, one has 3. Which one are you going to pick? Well, they would always say the 1,000 reviews. However, if it has like 50 reviews or 75 reviews, now the difference between that and something with like 5 or 10 reviews is visually not that big of a jump. So then if I don't see many with a lot of reviews, I'm like, okay, this is still pretty good. It's still on the possible board. The last thing I look at is the review rating. If there's a whole bunch that have like less than 4 stars, I'm like, oh man, this is going to be money. This is money because if I can fix whatever everybody hates about these other products and I can get 4 or 5 stars, visually, everybody's going to rotate to my listing naturally. And then the last thing I look at is another column. All of this, by the way, is all in Helium10 Chrome extension, is we actually have the image count too. So if one thing I'd be looking for is if at least if like half of the listings on page one had like only 3 or 4 or 5 images, I'm like, yes, these are like rookie sellers. They don't even know how to put infographics probably, and they're still selling well. So that's kind of my criteria. There's obviously more, that goes into it, but I start off looking for a product that's overperforming, and then I expand it out to see, okay, what about that niche as a whole? What about the relevant keywords to that product? Can I rank easily on that or not? And so in a nutshell, that's my 1 week process put into 2 minutes right there.
Wow. So one thing I took away from that is there still has to be subjective decision making. There has to be a little creativity. I run into that all the time, like with consulting or coaching. People want like the blueprint, but pieces of that blueprint are you just got to gamble because this is a business. Like there's no shortcuts. So so all of you that are listening, use information, use the tools, use the data you can get, but you're going to have to guess a little bit. And I always, encourage people to take small bites of things. Don't go all in just because you see, one piece of software like Jungle Scout that says, oh, this is a 10-star or whatever it is, a 9 out of 10. Don't do that. Use some decision making, test everything, go wide but not deep. There are still, even as good as we are at our research and launching, there are products that just don't go well. Or maybe they're great products and we realize, hey, this is more of a ClickFunnels or a Shopify type thing or Facebook ads. So at least we're not betting the farm on like one product that may not be awesome. So go wide but not deep, test. And Bradley, some other time we'll talk about testing using Helium10 stuff, testing existing listings that we're running to see if they're winners. So thank you for being on. I know that you guys offered a coupon code, a discount code, right, to any of our listeners.
Yeah, you should have 2 of them for you that are only for this group. So don't go putting this all in the other groups. This is only for private label Legion. But you should have either there's one code. If you guys are absolutely sure that you're like, wow, Helium10, I want to be a member for life. This is amazing. I would suggest doing the 10% off for life, coupon. But if you're on the fence, if you're not sure, yes, we do have a free version, but a lot of the stuff that I talked about today, the strategies you can't use with the free version is kind of limited. It's just kind of for you to get your feet wet. So I would highly suggest using the 50% off coupon for the first month and then use it for 30 days because if you use it for 28, 29 days, there's a coupon right there, Legion 50 for 50% off your first month. It might need to be all capitals if that doesn't work, but you can try it just as it is right there. But if that doesn't work, do Legion with all capitals. But I want you guys to test it out for 3 weeks. And I literally have never had one person say at the end of using it, the full version for a month, that, it's just not worth it for me. The only ones who have ever said that is like the people who just say, you know what, I'm going to sell on eBay or I'm going to sell on Walmart or Jet.
Yeah, the people that don't take action.
Yeah,
we have that all the time. I just had another lady on the phone who's going to come to China with us in January, and I had to tell her. She said, "Does this work? Do your methods and strategies?" I said, "No, they don't always work." And she was like, "Well, that's not very reassuring." I said, "The people they don't work for are the people that don't take action. So we'll give you all the tools, the training, all that stuff you need. But if you'll take action, we guarantee that it's a good return on your investment." And look, guys, I can personally say I completely agree with Helium10. We've been using Helium10 long before we even knew who these jokers were, just because it worked and everything's kind of in one rolled up package. And it's been awesome for us. So Thank you, Bradley. I'm embarrassed. I didn't know you had to have a plug-in to share screens, but to be honest with you, as many of these as we've done, we've never actually done a screen share. It's just talking. So I know that you and Kate did some stuff before, where you guys worked on some back-end stuff with Helium10 in the past.
Yes.
And we got that. And she and I are going to work to do some more of that with you. And we'll actually put that up on our YouTube channel. So
Okay.
if you guys, if you're listening to this, go check out our YouTube channel. It is, I believe it's timjordan.tv. If that doesn't work, I think we set up a little short URL. If that doesn't work, just look me up on YouTube, Tim Jordan. You'll see the private label Legion stuff pop up, and we will shortly have all that blasted out. And then, of course, we'll put this video on the YouTube page as well. So, Bradley, thank you. I know that as soon as I get done with this, I'm going to go through all my notes, and we'll be in contact soon to put together some more content and dive a little bit deeper into some of this stuff. And if any of you guys have questions, I know if you're watching the replay or watching YouTube, just load the questions up in the comments, either on Facebook or YouTube, and we'll get those questions answered for you. If we can answer them ourselves, or if we have to reach back out to the Helium10 guys and get those answered.
Tag me. I'm a member of the group, so just tag me, guys, and I'll get to it.
Okay, cool. Well, we're signing off. Thank you for everybody that attended. Thank you, Bradley, and we'll see you guys on the next one.